Right now, getting the facts in the 2024 race for president. Today, looking at claims made by both Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump when it comes to what some believe is the most important issue in this election, the economy. Joining us live once again is Lou Jacobson with PolitiFact. So Lou, let's talk about two claims here. I think it's kind of helpful to look at what each is saying about the other. So we'll start with Vice President Harris, who said when she took office along with President Biden that, quote, it was the worst unemployment since the Great Depression, which is in reference to the unemployment rate under former President Trump at the end of his term. So what did you in PolitiFact find about this statement?
So we gave that a false. Basically, the unemployment rate did spike to 14.8% in April of 2020, right as the pandemic hit. That rate was the highest since the Great Depression, and Trump was serving in office then. But by the time he left office in December 2020, or just before he left office, the last full month, the unemployment rate was 6.4%. And 6.4 is a relatively high rate for recent history, but it's far from the highest since the Great Depression. There have been, on several occasions, bigger spikes than that.
Yeah, and they were trying to sell a lot of that as, you know, inheriting a bad economy, and then they're trying to make the claim now on the trail that they fixed it. Want to turn now to the next claim, which comes from former President Trump over what's been another big issue, skyrocketing inflation, reaching 9% at one point, 9.2% a few years back. During a recent rally in Wisconsin, he said this about the vice president, quote, she, meaning Kamala Harris, cast the tie-breaking votes that caused the worst inflation in American history, costing a typical American family $28,000. Pretty specific there. What did you find out about this claim?
Yes, this is kind of a multi-part claim. Overall, we gave it a mostly false. So basically, Harris did cast a tie-breaking vote in the Senate for the 2021 American Rescue Plan, which was Joe Biden's pandemic relief bill. Some economists at the time warned that the bill would boost prices for consumer goods. And today, most economists agree that the bill did help send prices higher. But those same economists also agree that the bill was not the biggest factor in inflation. The biggest factor causing prices to rise was the supply chain shortages caused by the pandemic itself, combined with the invasion of Ukraine about a year later, which caused oil prices to spike. And there are a couple other things that Trump got wrong in the statement. He said that Biden and Harris oversaw the worst inflation in American history, but that's not the case. It was actually the highest in about 40 years, which is still a significant time, but it's not the biggest ever. And it also leaves out that, like, by now, inflation has fallen to something close to its desired level of around 2.5% year over year. And then finally, on that $28,000 figure, Trump is leaving out the fact that wages have gone up over that time too, and depending on which time frame you're talking about, actually wages have outpaced prices. So they have trailed prices. If you look at from the date that Joe Biden was sworn in as president until now, they've trailed by a couple percentage points. But actually, consumers have seen their wages rise faster than prices if you go back to before the pandemic, or if you look at the last 1 year or the last 2 year period. And he basically didn't factor that in his statement.
The context always matters. Lou Jacobson with PolitiFact. We appreciate your time today. Great to see you as always.
Thank you.